Hey everyone, it's mehrban here. Before we dive into today's episode with ADV founder Lavie Sak, I want to let you know about something really cool. ADV makes some of the smartest, best-built tennis gear I've seen. Their tennis bags, overgrips, and accessories are designed by players for players. Super functional, sleek, and built to last. And right now, you can get 10% off any ADV product when you visit tennisfiles.com/ADV10. The code TFiles10 will automatically apply at checkout. It's that easy. Again, that's tennisfiles.com/ADV10 for 10% off your order. You can also check out the link in the show notes page of your favorite podcast app. Huge thanks to ADV for supporting the show and helping tennis players everywhere get better gear. All right, let's get into my conversation with ADV founder Lavie Sak. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of the Tennis Podcast. I'm here with my friend Lavie Sak, and I'm really excited to have him on. He is the founder of ADV, which has amazing products, a lot of gear regarding tennis and paddle and racket sports generally. So definitely have been seeing a lot of people with the bags, especially around, and they really like them. Some, players that I've seen in USA leagues and just randomly and practicing in bubbles or in parks. So Lavie, thanks a lot for coming onto the show. Great to have you on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Excited to be on. I heard a lot of good things. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And it was great because, we first met in our mutual friend, Will Hamilton's City Open suite. So Will is the founder of FYB, co-founder actually with Adam. So yeah, and definitely, enjoyed meeting you and it's so cool to meet somebody as, creative as you. And I actually interviewed Swapnil from Swing Vision yesterday, and I'm interviewing you today. So I'm like, it's cool to hang out with these big brain creators here. So it's fun. So, but in addition to, you founding companies, you also are, a great tennis player and you have a great tennis background. So I always am curious about folks, their first experiences in tennis. I'm curious if you can let the audience know how you got started with the game.
Yeah, I started late. I think in my early teens. No formal training, really. Picked up a racket, hit against the wall, like a lot of us do. It was fun. I kind of got into that, played some juniors, played some high school. Did pretty well. I never made it to the highest levels of tennis, but it never stopped me from loving the game. I learned and studied for myself, but then I learned a lot about coaching, how to coach, kind of the psychology behind it, things like that. So it's kind of that whole, you may not have to be the best tennis player to be a great coach. So I learned a lot about that. I coached in Atlanta for about 8 years with UTA. Shout out UTA, great academy there. Did some coaching while I was in Australia and during grad school too. On the University of Sydney grounds, I played grass there the first time. It was weird but fun. So yeah, but yeah, tennis has been a big part of my life. I'm sure a lot of your audience can resonate with that. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, grass, not great for my grips, but that's cool. That's cool. And so what were some of the biggest takeaways? Obviously we have, the audience of 3.0, 5.0 players looking to learn and improve. So what are some takeaways you've gathered from all your years in tennis?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's honestly, from my perspective, there's so much that is just above the shoulders and so much that has to be, so much mental is such a big part of the game. One of my good friends, Micah Babel, she does a lot of psychology-based training for tennis. I think that's such a huge part. I mean, obviously the physical foundation, making sure your body's right and understanding technique is really important. You'll never perfect that, but you can always strive to get better and better. But I think the mental side gets a bit put to aside a bit. I think when it rains out at our academy, kids are bummed out. Well, most kids are bummed out that they can't be on court. But we have skull sessions and things where you talk through tactics, strategies, what to do when you're down, what to do when you're up, understanding weaknesses and strengths and things like that. So I think that's a really big part that I think that should be pushed more.
Yeah, for sure. I remember chatting with Mike, I've had on my summits a few times, and I think the podcast too, but she had mentioned that, she's learned so much about the mental game since her time as a top pro actually on the WTA tour. And then she wishes that she had, known what she knows now she would have, got even higher. So yeah, definitely such a huge part of the mentality of it all. So, I mean, you've created some awesome products, and I'm wondering, how has your time in tennis, competing, coaching, et cetera, influenced how you now think about design and gear?
A lot. I mean, like it's the reason it's the reason we got into it in the first place, is because I think tennis is such a amazing thing, amazing for just so many aspects, from health, from social stuff, that we wanted to make it a better experience overall. So like beyond having the highest performance tennis rackets or things like that, there's a lot of things that go into the game and go into the experience that I think often aren't really talked about or really pushed forward. So we developed dampeners, overgrips, wristbands, bags, and we try to have a kind of an innovative twist to that to improve the experience, to make tennis even more fun. So you're not going to be left without you're not going to miss an overgrip in your bag. You can find it, you know where it is, or you're not going to lose a dampener. Like at the US Open, they had delay for a missing dampener, that was really funny. But yeah, our goal is to make innovative gear that improves the tennis experience. And it's not so much like higher performing material in a racket or anything, but think of like our wristbands are made of bamboo charcoal, and they prevent sweat from coming down your hands. And that's I love that product. A lot of people have really good reviews on that, but that just makes your tennis more fun when you're able to control your handle and grip. You don't have that much slippage. So this type of stuff that we really strive for is how do you make the experience on and off the court better for tennis players and coaches.
Hey, awesome, Lavie. And so you obviously have, founded companies and innovated. So, one of the interesting things I saw in your bio that you founded Shot Stats. So I want to know if you could talk about that and like lessons learned with that venture.
Yeah, Shot Stats for the time. I started that after grad school. I actually doubled down. I don't know, not many people know this, but like I doubled down with my dissertation, which was on tennis. So the evolution of tennis. And I wrote like a legitimately 75-page thesis or dissertation on tennis and how it evolved from different materials to upgraded materials to different ways to play like cardio tennis. So yeah, I mean, that pushed me into thinking more just harder about tennis in general, what could be done using technology that was there at the time. And it was around 2014. There wasn't too many headways or headwinds in computer vision. There was a lot of companies trying to use sensors for all sorts of stuff, not just tennis. But we decided to take accelerometers, gyroscopes, magnetometers, and these are just different types of sensors that get different data, stick them into a dampener, a very sophisticated dampener with a polycarbonate screen, and that could take the beating that a tennis racket string gets and then spit out metrics like RPMs, contact point, head speed, extrapolated ball speed, contact angle, all these type of things, and then have that data aggregated into an app or Bluetoothed over to your app, and then getting insights out of it. It was a journey, man. It was hard. Hardware is hard. So it's funny. We thought about pivoting to computer vision, and you mentioned Swapnil. I think that was a really good way to go about it. I think there are some slight limitations to it. I think the best of both worlds is to have something on the racket and something on the camera that feeds all the data that any player would ever need. So I mean, that was a really interesting time. We did a Kickstarter campaign, raised a good amount of money. We got to pre-production, and we had a working pre-production prototype. But to be honest, we just ran out of money. It just got way too costly. We had a separate data science team based in Siberia. No joke, Siberia.
Wow.
We actually flew our co-founder to Siberia, and they told him, "You have to buy this jacket, this coat. If you don't, you will die." Like that was legitimately it's like a whole new world out there. So it was cool, man. There's so many cool experiences I think that like people in the audience will really like. It's like we set up like a giant slow motion camera on low lines with tape and tracked ball and racket speed with a slow motion camera, and use the device to see how accurate we were. We were pretty accurate, to be honest. But yeah, it was hard to let that go, but we did a full retrospective, shared it with our investors, shared it with our backers, and we actually made all the code open source for anybody who wants to take it and try to rebuild it. I would love to see that happen. So yeah, fun, amazing, trying time, met a lot of good people. It was a really good time. So
yeah, that's amazing. I mean, those are the type of experiences that you take with you and you learn from, and now you've, created an awesome company. And yeah, I see you guys have raised over 6 figures, and yeah, pretty cool. And then
one funny story.
Yeah.
So we were flying. So we went to Dubai. It was a potential investor, but I went there mainly for Davis Cup with Team Cambodia. And I brought one of the prototypes with me. And we had, I was carrying 6 rackets at a time, all for testing purposes. And we had a prototype on there. And the prototype was a little piece of clay with a screen that had a timer on it. And there was a red and a black wire sticking out of the clay molding with the timer on the racket. And needless to say, I had a weird time going through security. They had a lot of questions about so it was funny and a little nerve-wracking. So
I bet, yeah, and want to get detained or whatnot. Also thinking too, over 6 figures for, a Kickstarter for a dampener, I mean, is really impressive, because obviously the price point isn't something else. It's like a ball machine or something. So, but yeah, pretty cool. And then you alluded to, Davis Cup. So tell us about your experience, more about that, coaching, Davis Cup, and then also we'll get into you producing a documentary, so pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, so that was behind me is one of the warm-ups we had, Tennis Cambodia. So just some context around Cambodia. Cambodia was during the Vietnam War. There was a lot of collateral damage that really weakened the country, allowing a dictator to come out and take over and commit mass genocide, which is never good. But they targeted the 1/3 of the population that was educated, that were athletes, that were doctors, etc. So they wiped them out, right? So then it was really desolate, because before tennis wasn't amazing, but it was growing. It was there. After the war, it was not. So there was a just dead period in tennis in Cambodia. One of my friends, Ritivit, his dad played on the team, and he did well in business and things like that. So he wanted to bring back Cambodia, or tennis to Cambodia, and he tried his best. He got all the logistics, all this type of stuff done to get them accredited with the ITF, to get them on Davis Cup. He found some players abroad. A lot of them are friends from the US who played either Division 1, maybe Division 2 tennis, ranked in top 1,500, who had Cambodian descent, and flew them all to Cambodia. I'm also of Cambodian descent. I'm not as good as those guys, but I was there. I trained with them a bit, and amazing experience seeing the tennis there is just surreal. Playing on clay courts that are makeshift clay courts, they're literally dirt. And then we got to visit all the orphanages and things like that with the kids, bare feet on makeshift rocky clay courts. And they could hit the ball better than some of the kids at the academy event. So it was really impressive to see all that, eye-opening. So I think that they continue to grow, but there's struggles, right? It's hard to get equipment there. I know Wilson has helped out and they provided some things at some point. We gave them gear. We also gave them cash funds and sponsorships to them to help grow. But I want to see, if I had a goal for them, it'd be for them to be able to grow their grassroots tennis, to have like a Peradon Shishipen of Thailand.
Yeah.
He came out, he grew up there. I know there's a couple good Vietnamese players that are coming out, but they have infrastructure, they have courts. One of the crazy stats I heard was in the whole country of Cambodia, there's less than 30 courts. I coach in facilities that have more than 30 courts, like a single facility. So it's a lot of work ahead, but I think the best way to help is to get the story out and let people understand that things like this is happening all over the world. There's countries like Cambodia who care about tennis and try to fight and try to get on the, raise their game. So, but yeah, that's why I got the document. I know you have some questions about that later, but I think that helps to shed some light.
Yeah, that's really cool. I just Googled it and found it on YouTube. And yeah, that's insane. I didn't realize that. I think it was probably Paul Pot who did that, just insanity, but super cool. Definitely going to check this out too. I see was it released in May of 2020? Is that when it actually, like around that time when you published?
No, I think that was the older one. It was released a little bit earlier, but it's, yeah, I mean, I think there's such power in storytelling. This was me after like one film class and 2 DSLR cameras and a handful of orphans following me around holding mics and stuff. So needless to say, it wasn't the most well-produced production. That being said, I think it does a good job in telling the story. It has some really cool footage. One of these days, it'd be fantastic to do a documentary to showcase Cambodia or other countries that are trying to push tennis. I know of other few, because when you play Davis Cup in Group 4 in Oceania, just for context, it goes world group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, 5, and now there's 6. And then I believe from 2 on, it segments to geographies. So like you can have Oceania, you can have Africa, you can have North America. We were in Group 5 and we got Group 5 and 4 Oceania. We played like Oman and Saudi Arabia and Myanmar. So like, these are countries you don't think of when you think of tennis, but it's really, really cool to see to go to a site in Dubai or Phnom Penh and see all these countries that you would never think could have anything in common play and have all the players get along. It's just really cool, especially in this day and age of a lot of kind of weird political stuff. It's just nice to see that sports can really bring people together.
Yeah, definitely. Was there a particularly like emotional moment or moments that you had? Was it, I mean, maybe the orphanage, I don't know, but anything of that magnitude?
I mean, seeing the kids play, like having, they just care how they really get into it. It was really cool seeing, I met a couple of Qatarian players, super chill. Like, I mean, there's just like this, you hear political things about Qatar and some other areas and just like, you don't know the people. Like, this is a good chance I meet people I would never get to meet. And it was just cool seeing them talk to Team Cambodia, just making jokes and getting along. So it's just really, it's eye opening. It's a bit emotional because it's just nice to see. So.
Yeah, definitely, man. In terms of ADV, what was like the initial like spark for that? I guess we'll start with that. Yeah.
I knew I wanted to get into something in tennis again after Shot Stats. I knew I wanted to get less technically complex. Like, I spent 12 years of my life in tech. So I wanted to get something a little bit less complex that side. So we started off with dampers. We made like really cool looking dampers and made some modifications to inside to really prevent them from flying off. Sold on Amazon, did really well. Then we started selling other products and that they did pretty well. So then it just grew to the point where like, man, I really want to make a new product, something from the ground up. And that was the tennis bag. I know it's not a new concept, obviously, but we wanted to take it and design it. Like, everything we build is from scratch designs with our team of designers. So yeah, the bag, there are a couple of gripes I had of bags. I think that people resonate with me a bit. It's like, I think they're too loud, unnecessarily loud. Sometimes I feel like I'm a billboard for certain brands, which, some people like that. I don't like that as much. I think that the build quality isn't the same as for rackets. Like, I think, I personally think, and I'm guessing here, speculating, but I don't think bags are the biggest investment for big tennis companies, because the rackets are there. That's a big money maker. So we wanted to be different. We wanted to really bring premium, like Thule, Patagonia type materials in tennis bags. And then also just bring a new level of like organization features. Having a toiletry bag for your sunscreen, having a shoe compartment that has ventilation, that has a sweat compartment, a cooler that is insulated, that you can put ice and ice packs in to keep things cold, secret pockets to keep your cash or credit cards, hanging hooks so you can hang it, you can stay in the bags. So stuff like that. We really wanted to be different and innovative. And yeah, we just went in there. We were trying to build the the best tennis bag. And yeah, we wanted to keep the price lower to make it more accessible, but the goals kind of conflict. Right? If you want to make something the best of something, it's hard to keep the price down. So
Yeah. I know you mentioned that you wanted to get into something like less technical, but did you find that it was maybe like more technical than you thought initially?
Yeah, oh man, it's a good point. I think anything worth getting into is gonna be hard. Bags are hard. Like, I mean, I've done apps. I've worked on apps and project managed and built apps that have over 2 million active users a day. And so those things need to scale. There's all sorts of problems. The one thing I will say about software, it makes it a little bit easier, is that if you make a mistake, you can patch it up with a bug and release it fairly quickly if you get on it. With bags, you get a 2,000 bag purchase order and you spend a lot of money on it. You find one error, you can't go back on that, right? You can't just go, press reverse so. It's good to know we haven't had like a major thing like that, but like it takes so much checking quality insurance to make sure things like that don't happen. And there's so many little details from like the style of the molding on the zipper pull to the gauge of the bottom tarpaulin to make sure it's as durable as it needs to be, but still abrasive proof. Testing the weather resistance of zippers and polycarbonate coating and stuff like that on the bags. So just a lot of stuff. So anyway, I think it's just as complex, to be honest. I would say that both of them are pretty hard. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, so I'm really interested in the process of it. I don't plan to make, another bag company or anything, but obviously, feel free to answer as deeply as you want or as shallow. But in terms of like the process, just like, how about just selection of factory? Was that like a pain in the butt? Like, was that relatively quick for you? How did that go?
I wouldn't say it was easy. It's a lot of vetting, like, because you usually pick this partner that's so integral to your business, and you're not going to meet them at first. Because, I mean, we did fly to Asia to visit our factory, but that was after we worked together for 2 years or so.
Sure.
So it's just tough. It's just a matter of trying to find the ones that communicate well with you and have the capabilities that you need. And there will be trial and error unless you get super lucky and get the first one get it right in the first time. But it's a matter of like being persistent, to be honest. Like they're such a crucial piece of this, and I can't understate the importance of communication with them. So
sounds good. And then in terms of like the first prototype, I mean, a lot of questions about that, I guess, but like, one, is it like super expensive to make? And also, like, did you like go back and forth like many times, like send them a prototype and then like reiterate tons of times, like all that stuff?
Yes. It takes a long. I think the first of the Pro V3 bag at that time, I guess Pro V1, the first prototype was, I think, came out to be $250 at cost, which means you sell it for 4 times or so of that. So $1,000 bag we didn't sell. I was like, oh shit, paid too much. So we had to like figure out what materials make the most sense and like what things to. But yeah, that's just like learning by fire or whatever the term is. So like, yeah, I mean, each bag will probably takes about 6 to 7 months, 6 to 9 months of back and forth iteration, figuring all the little things out, testing. So when I had a chance to fly there and meet them, and we could iterate much quicker, obviously, when I was there. But yeah, it's a cycle: build, test, build, test, build, test, build, test. So you get better at it over time, so you don't have to have as many iterations. But yeah, it's a very cyclical process.
Gotcha. And then I'm curious about the changes that you made between V1 to V2, V2 to V3, and also, was that kind of driven more by user feedback or by your experience, or just finding things out, or both?
Yeah, both. For one thing, one thing I learned while I was in software development was that those user feedback cycles are super important. We try, me and my co-founder, Maybelline, who's on the marketing side, she's also my wife. So that's nice too. Yeah. We try to touch base with a customer at least 1 or 2 a week to get a pulse check.
Great.
Our process. So every time we do a production run, there's always something that's improved. If it's a substantial improvement, we change it from V1 to V2 or V3. And we're always listening. Like, honestly, we really enjoy the feedback. We can't, kind of everything, but everything goes through the spreadsheet, and we rank the costs versus the benefit and see which ones make the cut for the next version. And some of them are so small, and they're free. They don't cost anything. Like, a good example is I had one of our customers as a coach, and he's like, "This bag is amazing. One thing, the freaking side pocket, the panel pocket. I carry papers in my manila folder, and I cannot fit it, but it's only by 1/2 inch. I can't fit this stupid folder in the bag." And I was like, oh. And it literally was just increasing the seam upwards a little bit, which made no difference. And now he can put a manila folder, and subsequently now it fits a laptop in there. It's not the most space for it, but it does hold your laptop.
Nice.
So things like that, like people will tell you what they like, but then you have to dig for what they don't like. Some people love giving you negative feedback, but a lot of people don't. And it's a matter of like being thick-skinned and just understanding that they're not trying to attack you as the person who built it. They're trying to make the bag better. So, and that's the lens we always go through. And like in software development, the same thing. We just iterate. So there's just constant changes and iterations to the design and the patterns. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned like raising the seam for the zipper. Were there any other like interesting like changes to them, or was it just different design? Like on the
backpack V1 to V2 had one hook. People were saying that it was a heavier backpack, so it would kind of sway. That's right. So we put 2 hooks. So now it's more balanced. What else did we do? We had a racket cape. A racket handle cape on the backpack. So some people, it's about half and half people who care about protecting the handles, and the other half just expose it. The people that didn't care to cover it said it took up room in that compartment, which is true. If they don't use it, it's stuck to the bag. One guy even took scissors and just cut it off. I was like, okay. So yeah, we decided to make it removable. So it's more optional. So things like that. I mean, like, it's stuff in like retrospect that we should have probably just done in the first place. But there's so many little things that you're not going to get right always. But as long as you continue to try to improve it, I think that's what needs to be done.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I saw interesting on your site is your wristbands is that right? They're bamboo charcoal infused, and like that's pretty unique.
Yeah, you burn charcoal, you burn bamboo to get this like little ash. This charcoaly ash, and then you infuse it into the cotton. You don't put much of it. It's like trace amounts of it, but it adds antibacterial properties, which makes it smell less. But it also helps absorb. So bamboo just has natural absorption properties. I know other products do it just around like some socks and things do that too. But yeah, that makes this huge difference in absorbing sweat. We tried and like the wristbands, I just didn't like how full of, I sweat a lot, how puffy they get, and you just so we try to avoid that. We made it thinner and more compressed, so it absorbs better. But they're definitely worth a try. Like, I think a lot of people really like it. We got a couple. We have a player on tour now on the Challenger Tour, Andres, good dude. He uses the wristbands. He loves it. I just see like it makes a difference. So
that's cool. And then you have the same material it looks like in your hats too.
Yep.
So that's dope. In terms of like the progression, I guess, like you did, after the bags, I guess was it dampener, bags, and then what else came? Like what after that? Yeah.
Damper, dry over grip, tacky over grip, wristband, hat, training kit, Pro bag, Pro or backpack, then the pickleball Pro bag, and then we have a couple of new things coming out of pipe. So,
got it. And I guess, I mean, it was the intention in the beginning to like just have like a ton of different tennis products, or was it more like, okay, for a while maybe you were like, let's focus on bags, and you said, oh, you know what, let's keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes to the whole like improving the whole tennis experience. So you start with smaller gear, smaller yeah, just smaller gear overall. And then now we're pushing to more bags. Now we're looking at other things like what we like to describe it as, like, people ask us what we sell. We're like, we want to sell everything that's related to tennis. It's not a tennis ball or a tennis racket, essentially.
Yeah.
So everything that your body is on when you're on a court, like the socks are a good example. I think socks can make a big difference in performance and just injury prevention and things like that. Towels, you always need a towel. I mean, you can bring if you sweat, you can bring a towel. I think I like to think that everything can be improved. So that's the mentality we have. So if you tell me something that you need on a tennis court, I want to think of ways to make it better. So that's ADV needs to stand for advantage, like advantage you, but it kind of progressed into you want to advance gear. So
yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, tell me more about the high-end socks, because that's something that, like, sometimes, like, for example, like after a few months, I see the Costco socks are dead. They got holes in them. So annoying. But, obviously, especially now too, like as I get older, I'm having like more foot problems, calf problems. So, I need like the best sort of gear. I'm getting custom insoles next week and, need great shoes. And then also with that, you need good socks. You can't just wear some thin socks with like no grip and expect to have a great time with your feet. So yeah, tell me, the high end socks, because I don't know if doesn't look like they're available yet, but they're coming down the pike. Is that right?
yeah, we're hoping to have them in mid to end of September, hopefully.
Nice. That's soon.
They have really cool materials. I mean, cool, like they are part Cool Max, which is like a proprietary blend, a very eco-friendly, durable cotton polyester blend. Also, we have our own ADV cotton blend that's put into that. And then Lycra also for some added flexibility. So then with that, we added a bunch of cushion zones, high impact cushion zones. So thicker areas, your heel, your toes. We don't want blisters. I don't think anybody wants blisters. They suck. And then also, it's just true.
That's right.
Tell me one person who likes blisters and probably shocked.
Weirdo. Yeah.
The mesh ventilation. Some areas of socks that don't get that much strain are very thin on purpose. They allow it to dry quicker. We have arch band support for people who have flatter feet. It's compression up top, arch band up top to prevent it from slipping down. It's not a full crew. I think some tennis players, I don't think tennis players like ankle socks play tennis, but I think people sometimes, at least what I'm hearing, don't care for the full crew sock. So it's kind of in between, minimal branding. But yeah, as one cool thing, we have grips on them. They're made of microfiber. So it's different than the kind of silicone-based grips that can kind of feel a little bit sticky. These only activate upon moisture. So when you sweat is when you need to actually have the grip. So they activate when you sweat. We had this tested by some folks. A friend, Jonas, a tennis nerd, gave it a shot too.
Good guy.
He liked it. I say jokingly, he's a sock nerd now. And he's like, no, he's a tennis nerd.
Tennis sock nerd.
Yeah.
Both. That's very cool. Yeah, definitely excited for that. And then I think you also have a new Flex backpack coming out. Is that right?
Yeah, we're prepping on the materials, the marketing stuff for that, but that's going to be a smaller version, the smallest backpack or smallest bag in our lineup. Our Big Tennis Pro is 62 liters. Our backpack is 37 liters, and this comes in at 27 liters. So we're really building it to make it the most everyday compatible. So something if you don't play tennis that day, you're good to use this as your everyday bag.
Yeah.
Tons of organization, like toiletry bag. It has an expandable canopy that allows you to attach shoes, helmets to the outside of the bag. But just tons of organization features in like a compact form. Fits 2 rackets. It has like a racket latch in the back. So
the Flex backpack does.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. That's really cool.
So
yeah. Cool. Very cool. Yeah. Because I think most of the backpacks I've seen, or at least like tried, at least for the pure arrows, like that can only get 2 in them. So, but I think it's cool though that you have, a bigger backpack option or like standard than the smaller one. That's great. And then, yeah, I mean, one thing that I was blown away, to be honest, like I don't know the warranty policies of every single company out there, but you all have a 10-year warranty. I mean, I don't know. That seems to be unheard of to me, but like, what was the thinking? Like, how did you like figure out, oh, let's do a 10 year as opposed to like a 5 year, 1 year, etc.
Yeah. I mean, it's also meant to just exude kind of confidence in our product. Yeah. That, if there's like, if a zipper breaks or something, we don't think it will because we use very strong YKK zippers, YK10 zippers in our main zips. So we try to put the best stuff in there to avoid having issues that we had to address. But yeah, I mean, we're generous here. I mean, like people, like it's not an inexpensive bag. So with that, there should be some comfort in what you buy will last. So yeah, that's the thinking behind it. We thought 10 year was the good amount. I mean, to be frank, I think most people, if they have a bag for more than 10 years, they're probably pretty happy with it. And even if it doesn't last 10 years, they'll probably want to upgrade anyway at that point. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. And then, I mean, what's your, vision over the next 5 years? I guess, first of all, is there any other products that I know you're releasing like 2 new ones at least, but like, are there any other, areas you're trying to get into in terms of products for tennis?
Yeah, right. I think towels are something that's of interest. I think there's some cool things to do. I think sustainability there. Overgrips is something around more sustainable overgrips would be kind of interesting to do. I think it's hard to get that. It's hard to find something there. But yeah, I mean, we may look into other things like a duffel, like a smaller duffel or a caddy, like that goes along with the bigger bags, something like that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if you or the folks listening have ideas, I'm all ears. So like I said, whatever you touch or use before, after, and during a tennis session, like it can be improved. I think everything can be improved. So that's my kind of mentality towards things.
Definitely. That makes me think, have you ever had a disaster moment with any sort of tennis gear at all? Yeah. Like ever when you were playing, there was something that was just super annoying for you.
Let's see. I mean, I don't know what it was about this, but had 4 rackets. I didn't think I needed more than 4 for this match, but 4 freshly strung strings. I don't know if it was a stringer or the string or the racket, but 3 popped in the first 3 games. Yeah, shit. That's great. I don't know if what I'm gonna do. So luckily the last one held up for the whole match, but that was rough. Yeah, that was weird. I got upset one time, I think, as some tennis players do, missed a shot. You remember, Mikhail Yuzny? Remember him?
Oh yeah.
So I didn't do the head bleeding part, thank goodness. But I did punch my strings, and they were like the Black Widow, some sharp one, super light. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's still like scars, right?
Oh wow!
Here. But okay. It's like gushing blood after I should. That was not my best moment, but it was a moment, as we all do on tennis court. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know why I remember this. Well, because of your hand thing. I was so dumb. It was like during law school, and I wanted to go in the heavy bag, and I punched it like without any gloves, and then my knuckles were black and blue. But yeah, in terms of you're talking about the racket and strings. I mean, have you ever any ideas popped in your head about maybe I want to make rackets, or not really?
No, not really. I don't think rackets are in the future. I think we actually we're working with a smaller racket company trying to do like a partnership or something. Don't want to disclose it just yet, but it's super exciting. So that'd be something we might be able to do. But yeah, I think there's some really cool racket companies out there, especially the smaller ones trying to do more innovative things. So they may not have the resources of the bigger companies, but I think it doesn't take hundreds of millions of dollars to be innovative. I think it's one of the things I kind of learned over the years.
Yeah, definitely. And, maybe stepping outside the products that you have right now, if you could redesign any piece of tennis equipment tomorrow, racket, shoes, strings, etc., are there any gaps that you see in any of those products, or wishes that, that you wish they were better in some aspect?
A good way to pick up balls would be nice. I know there's some things happen. I know my buddy hates them at TennyBot. He does some cool stuff around that.
Yeah.
That could be something good, like even just like a quick portable way to do that. especially for the coaches out there spending, 1/5 of the time picking up balls.
Yeah.
Good for anybody. Let's see. Honestly, I think I'm not unbiased. I think socks they're just interesting because I think they do make a difference in how you feel, how you perform. Obviously shoes, there's some cool things happening in shoes I know of. But yeah, I mean, the things I want to change more in tennis is I think how the business of tennis, the marketing of tennis is. I think there's more improvements or things that is test in that world. So I don't really want to get into that, but that's more.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm an attorney, so I get it, like in terms of like copyright and stuff. But I feel like tennis, they make it really difficult for folks to share content. I think, yeah, like there was some folks in the media business that were getting in trouble for posting like professional, videos of like a match. It's kind of interesting. Like they told me once when I was, doing media like at City Open, they said, oh, like if you take it on your phone, like nobody really cares. But if you like use like a nice camera and you post anything regarding like an actual match footage, then they're just gonna like make you take it down. So that I found that like really annoying, and prohibiting like the sharing of cool content, even if it's like a clip, Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's that. And then, yeah, just generally speaking, I mean, we both love tennis a lot and a little bit concerning about like pickleball gaining a lot of steam and us, I think, staying fairly stagnant unless I'm wrong on the numbers, but definitely wish tennis could be marketed better and really presented as really cool and innovative so that more kids especially would get into it. So,
yeah, I mean, that was part of my dissertation was evolution. There was a material evolution with the rackets and balls changing strings, but there's also evolution, just kind of how it's played, who plays it. Like I have 2 kids and the key is they will have fun playing with their friends, playing in the dirt or playing baseball or playing whatever, as long as they're with their friends. Tennis is just inherently a more independent sport. And there's also obvious team aspects to it and things like that, but it's just more of that type of sport. I think the more we can kind of push it, make it more attractive for kids, the better. I don't know. I feel like it's definitely got less stale. Like, I mean, tennis has become more of like, I just got back from the US Open, right? I'm sure you've been there, but it's a party, right? I mean, it's different. Yeah. People have fun and like the most, like I'm just speculating 100% here, but like I would imagine that probably 50% ish are people who don't really play or care that much about tennis. They just go because it's the US Open and their friends who do play tennis bring them there. And it's like, how do we get them to actually pick a racket? It's hard. I think because tennis is hard, it's just simply put, it's a physically hard sport to pick up because of like, if you first start, you have a slightly open grip, that ball is going to sail very far.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's one of the things about pickleball. It's just like it becomes more accessible and gets more people in. So I think a tennis can find something in that blueprint. Like I could have fun playing with a red dot ball, to be honest. Like you could jump on a court, play a red ball, short court. I think we would have fun. I would have just for a little bit at least. I think there's some aspects, some way we could evolve it to make it easier for adults to pick up and do more socially too, potentially. So I think there's some things.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think the different balls, a red ball and so forth would be a good way to start. Make it easy because, yeah, it's just like anybody on the street almost like, hey, let's go play pickleball. And it'll be like somewhat decent usually unless they can't move. So, yeah, I'm actually going to play tonight. Probably my 5th time in my life, but, with some friends and whatever. Don't have anything to do tonight. So, yeah, why not?
There you go.
Nice. Yeah. Curious too, just about your setup. I know you're so busy with like, obviously like everything with ADV, but do you have like, like what do you use? Like what racket, strings, etc.?
Yeah. So right now I use Zeus rackets.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. And I should know what I string it with. Goodness. I use that. It's a hybrid, half a softer multi-fill cross with a poly, which is probably not the most durable setup. I string at 39. So the trampoline, nice. I've been dabbling with it, just taking short swings, short back swings, just kind of bunting it back in a way. Full swings, just not super big takebacks. It's been good. Of course, needs my ADV grips and dampeners. Mm-hmm. it's funny, like notorious for forgetting to bring stuff from my house into my bag onto court. So like, I gifted some wristbands to a buddy I was playing with. I'm like, hey man, here's some wristbands I got you, but I need one back. So it's just like
Carry it.
I should be better at that. But yeah, man, that's my setup. I've been using, can't think of that brand, not ASIC shoes. Goodness sake, Mizuno. Yes, that's it. They're similar looking logo type. Thing. Yeah, those shoes are pretty sweet. Big fan of Built like shirts and stuff. They're pretty cool.
No
affiliation, just that I like the cool. The athletic stuff's pretty cool too. So
wow, fun. Yeah, I got some brands to look into now with Zeus and Built. First, I thought you meant the Built credit card because I use that. Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. Awesome. And yeah, just for those, who are listening and watching, like we'll have a link for you to check out all of ADV's stuff. So definitely a lot of cool stuff. Like I really do like the designs a lot. It looks very cool. So I guess if there's anything else, Lavie, that, maybe I didn't cover, ask you about that you just want to, mention.
But also we'll give, like, if you have the link, man, it'd be like a 10% off code or something there too. Just for folks that they want to use it. Just like a thanks for listening to this and listening to me. That's this time. No, man, this is great. I enjoyed it. It's always fun doing these, and you're a good host. So it was fun.
Thanks, appreciate it, Lavie. You're a great guest and really had a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks everybody for listening, and definitely check out ADV stuff. And like Lavie said, he's kind enough to give us a link that'll get you a 10% discount. So we'll have the link for you in the show notes and below the video as well if you're watching the video. And we're going to make that at tennisfiles.com/ADV. So y'all can go right there or click the link. So Lavie, thanks a lot for coming to the show, and hope to meet up again in person soon. And, all the best, and really enjoy your stuff. So thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Like, let's hit some balls sometimes. We're somewhat close geographically. I don't know what's the word, but yeah. Good.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome, man. Yeah, we'll definitely set that up. So yeah, have a great one and talk soon.
Sweet. Bye.
All right. I really hope that you enjoyed my interview with Lavie. Big up and thanks to Lavie for coming on to the show. And before we wrap up, I just want to give another quick shout out to today's episode partner, ADV Tennis. I've really been impressed by their attention to detail, from the cooler pocket in their pro bag to the durability of their overgrips. And if you want to upgrade your gear, head over to tennisfiles.com/ADV10 to get 10% off your entire order. The discount code TFiles10 will automatically be added for you. Again, that's tennisfiles.com/ADV10. You can also check out the link in the show notes page of your favorite podcast app. Check them out and support the companies that help make this podcast possible. I also want to leave you with a quote, as I do at the end of the show. And this one is, every champion was once a beginner. I don't actually have the source of this quote, but I'll find it someday. But thanks again for listening to the show. If you enjoyed the content, please leave a review or a rating, or both would be awesome. Really would appreciate that, and spread the word about the show. So thanks so much for tuning in to the Tennis Files.